Hi everyone, welcome to H&R Reptiles. My name is Ashton Riley and welcome to today's video. Today's video we're going to be talking about which lizard makes the best starter reptile. We are going to be going over two specific lizards in this one. We're going to be doing leopard geckos and crested geckos. First we are going to start with leopard geckos. What makes leopard geckos amazing starter pets? Now, what makes leopard geckos amazing starter pets is that they don't really require that much. They need a heat pad so they stay warm, 2 hides, substrate, food, water, and a cage. Pretty basic, pretty easy. They don't need any excess misting or anything. What makes them not, and also what makes them a really good pet is that they're really handleable. If you handle them a lot, like I do, your lizards will become really handleable, really like lovey. You know, Millie loves it when I grab her. You know, something that doesn't make them quite as good as a starter pet is you do need to keep live bugs. We feed them live mealworms and live superworms and sometimes on occasion some live crickets, all dusted with calcium powder. But that's one reason why they don't necessarily make that good of a starter pet, you know. And for a leopard gecko, you can get a 20-gallon tank from when they're an adult. For a baby, they need a 10, but 20 works perfect for whenever they're adult. You can house more than one together, you know. They make really good starter animals, and they're just really good at being handled and everything. And, you know, I just really like them. And they're relatively, like, easy to find. Like, you can go down to your local pet store, not Petco or PetSmart, but, like, any other pet store, and find them for relatively cheap, and they're in good health, you know. And it doesn't take a lot to keep them or anything, you know, and they live a long time, so that's good. They make a perfect pet for a child that's just starting in the hobby. You know, they aren't very flighty, you know, they're just altogether really good lizards. Now we're going to be talking about crested geckos. Crested geckos are another one that make an amazing starter reptile. The only thing is with crested geckos is they're very flighty. They're very jumpy, and they can actually stick to walls. So if they get out, they can climb up on your wall, onto your ceiling. So it's a little harder to find them if they get out because you have to check on the walls and everything. But, you know, crested geckos are really good starter lizards. You know, they're relatively hardy, and, you know, they can become handleable if you handle them enough. I wouldn't handle them for long periods of time, just like I'm putting her back so she doesn't get too stressed out. But, you know, crested geckos are pretty hardy lizards, and they require tanks that don't take up an entire thing like what the 20 gallons take up because they're tall and skinny. So, you know, they take up less room. The only thing about crested geckos is you have to spray their tank twice a day with water because they don't drink sitting water. And another thing which makes it really an amazing starter reptile is you don't have to handle live bugs. They eat rapashi and Pangea fruit mix where you just add a little bit of water and then that makes it up. So crested geckos make really good starter pets if you're okay with not handling your lizard that much. Like if your kid wants a reptile but they don't really want to handle the reptile that much because, you know, maybe they're afraid of it to begin with, you know, get them a crested gecko where they can get used to the crested gecko, and the crested gecko doesn't require a lot of handling. You know, with leopard geckos, you know, if you have a kid that wants to handle the lizard a lot, get a leopard gecko. They're a lot better at being handled, you know. I can't really say if one is particularly better than the other because both leopard geckos and crested geckos have their own flaws and perks and flaws when it comes to like beginner care. You know, they both require very simple living setups. They're both pretty good with being handled. Well, crested geckos not so much, and then feeding cresteds is a lot easier than feeding a leopard gecko because a lot of people don't like to handle those live bugs. So if you're deciding just figure out, are you going to be handling the reptile a lot? If yes, get a leopard gecko. If you're not going to be handling it that much, get a crested gecko. I really hope this video will show you some of the pros and cons of each starter reptile. If you guys like today's video, make sure to give it a like, comment, and subscribe because we make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Bye!